The wait is over.
Oh,
You
baby.
survived the off-season. Flames football is back this week.
We made it.
Billy. The old Billy Maru. The old Billy Maru.
This thing is already off the tracks.
Caddyshack. That's a Caddyshack reference, yeah.
I am so excited. Flames football kicks off this week.
Bam.
We are back on the call, people.
It's one of those things where like it takes for so long. You're like, man, I can't wait for it to get here. Man, I can't wait. And then you're like, oh, it's here.
Yeah, it's here.
Like you're waiting, and then you're
it's
surprised.
like Christmas.
Right.
It's like Christmas.
Right.
Like,
Here
the
it
wait
is.
is so long, but it's finally here. We have a lot to talk about on today's Flames Central podcast, powered by Alcova Mortgage.
My form's getting better, by the way.
Yeah, it is. Well,
That's the only place he runs. Is right there in a seated position. Yeah.
A seated position. The mile is never happening.
You could do it in the office chair. Maybe that's the compromise. You can do the mile, but it's got to be in an office chair, just pushing yourself around the track.
I do have an idea. You know those Wii things, right? Do they still have the Wiis?
The Wii, or do you mean like the?
You know, the Wiis. They have the Wiis, right?
Yeah.
Like the thing you hold in your hands, the little remote controls. I
Yeah.
could run a mile on that.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
okay.
That's just moving your arms.
Yeah.
Pump your pump.
Yeah.
I can break 8 minutes. I break 8 minutes on the way.
Okay, let's bring it back together.
Bring it back,
we have a
save it.
loaded podcast today.
Extravaganza.
Head coach Jamie Chadwell is on the show. We have the Flames fantasy draft.
Yep.
Might be a little nervous about my team, but I'm gonna have
Tim's
some
not
faith.
near as confident.
My confidence
Yeah.
is soaring.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's soaring.
Okay, but we did. I don't know. We'll just see how everything shakes out. I was a little nervous last year, and look, I blew you guys out of the water by week 4.
Wow. Game predictions are back.
Game predictions
Snell
are back.
Scoring system back.
Back. A
Snap.
new theme song.
Back.
Snore,
No,
or Snell
back.
scoring system.
there wasn't ever a theme song,
Well,
so it's
yeah.
not back. But we got
Right.
a new theme song.
Yeah.
What were we saying last week that was like our song? It's back. It's back. Bounce back. What were we yelling about
remember.
last
Joe
week?
just was making a lot of noises. I don't remember exactly.
You know what I want to know, Emily, is, and you're usually very good about this, what can we get a weather report for Saturday?
It is going to be hot.
Oh,
I was
it is?
actually yes. It's
I haven't
well,
even
I think
looked.
good thing it's a night kick, but
Yeah.
I mean, even think about 6 o'clock. I
Yeah.
think the high is like 93 on Saturday. But
Might be time to bring the zip pants. You know, we can
Yeah.
like the
We
where we
go
can zip off the
shorts.
bottom
Doug
half.
has Doug has a pair of those. Start his pants, or start his shorts, and then you can zip on the pants.
We're gonna weed out the weak-minded.
That's true.
That's all we're gonna do.
right.
Yeah, but it's gonna be warm. But again,
But a
good
cool-
thing
good
it'll
night.
be.
Good night for football.
I think doesn't the sun set on that side?
Yeah, it'll be fun.
And-
By
and it-
based off of the fan appreciation, I think by like into first quarter, the sun should be at a good spot.
Set. Okay, yeah.
Any
and
update on ticket sales? How's ticket sales going?
Haven't heard. I
Imagine
assume
it'll
they're
be a
going
good
well.
crowd.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It'll be a
should
good
be.
crowd.
Come
the
on.
Campbell Camels are coming to town. Before we talk a little bit about that, what were we going to start with? Well, we're going to go to Jamie Chadwell in just a second.
I can
but-
tell you a little bit about Campbell. You want to know anything about Campbell?
No.
Okay, all right.
Let's go to Jamie Chadwell's
Okay.
interview. You know it is game week when you have the head coach of the Liberty Flames, Jamie
right.
Chadwell, on the Flame Central podcast, powered by Alcova Mortgage. How long have you been waiting to come back on the on the show, Coach?
I've been, really, that's probably one thing besides my wedding, the most important thing in my life,
Okay.
So I've been looking forward to it
yeah.
finally. I mean,
Right.
who do you have
Blowing
to
my
know her?
phone up.
Who do you have to know around
Yeah.
here to get on this show?
Yeah, it's,
That was a really good one. That was a really good one. The season is here, ready or not. How are you feeling going into the first game against the Campbell Camels?
I think as a coach, you feel like, you put your team from a preparation standpoint, covered everything. I think the biggest, I don't say anxious about, but maybe nervous is, how do you show up when there's 20-something thousand there? And we do have a lot of returners, but you do have a lot of new guys that really the first time that they're playing meaningful snaps. And I think you never know how they're going to respond in those situations. So I'm always cautiously optimistic the first one, but we've had good camp up to this point.
Yeah.
I think your first 3 games are against 3 teams that all have new head coaches.
Correct.
So that's kind of unique. I don't know how much
The fourth one's a new offensive coordinator.
Okay, so yeah, so
It's
throw
a
that
lot
in
of
there.
a lot of new in those first.
So how
4
much do you do in the summer of like scouting ahead? Do you do a lot of that, and how does that change things? Just you can't go like, oh yeah, we played Jerry Kill last year. We kind of know what he's going to do. It's different.
It is different. We throughout the spring and some of the summer, we do have each week we set aside, hey, we're doing this team or this program, whatever it may be. But those were difficult because you're going back to where they were the head coach at, and then who they bring with them, and a lot of different stuff. So it does make it, I think, especially early, they know who we are.
Sure.
So that's, to me, it's easier for them. Then you add on, well, half the teams are different from their NIL, or not NIL, from the portal. So it's not like you can watch their video. Well, this player's this, because they got a lot of new guys too. So that, to me, I think is the hardest challenge. I think if you are a new coach, I think there is a little bit of advantage just because
the unknown,
new schemes,
right?
the unknown, and if year two they have an idea who we are, right? But I do think there's a little advantage for them, us not knowing, and so I think that's a challenge.
Coach, so when you came into last season, obviously there was a ton of question marks, right? You're first year, a lot of questions to be answered. The big one obviously was the quarterback position. That question obviously got answered throughout the season. As you head into this year and you look at your team from last year to where you're at now, what question marks do you, as the coach, keep you up at night worrying about where you have the opportunity to be good?
I think overall, just not necessarily a specific position is more. Is the hunger, is the mentality to go out and pursue us being our best and attacking, going after, is it there throughout the whole program? Right. I think when you have success that you had and so much of it, I think there's this natural, when guys are returning, hey, I've done it already. Maybe I don't have to be as sharp or vice versa. Oh, it's going to come easy. And so as a coach, I worry about it because it's not going to be easy. And how do we respond when it's not easy and when we hand the ball off and instead of getting 5 yards, we might only get 2, right? How do we respond to that? How do individuals respond to that? And is our mentality going to be that? We spent a lot of time this camp talking about that. Like, we're going after something we're pursuing, but I'm saying it, or we believe in it, is a big difference. And so I think that, and then I think secondly, if you're just looking, position-wise and things, I think from a depth standpoint, really concerned about offensive line as far as do we have the depth there where guys that have played consistently, if somebody gets hurt, from there. And I think our wide receiver position, even though they're inexperienced, I think we all feel pretty good about where they came through camp. But I think O-line is the biggest question mark that we have kicking off this week.
Going back to the pursue, I know that's your word for 2024, but the expectations that have been placed on this team, like you mentioned, the success that you guys had last year. I know you guys haven't played a real snap yet, you're just Liberty against Liberty, but how have you seen the guys responding to such high expectations, especially Caden Salter with all those watch lists and the success he had?
Yeah, I don't know if you can see until it gets real, and what I mean by that is I think everybody, they feel confident about and they feel good about where they are, but until you are in that moment where it really matters. Right. I mean, we're doing everything we can during camp to put us in challenging situations to see how we're going to respond. But I think when we're in that moment and when things don't go our way, for whatever it may be, how are we going to respond there? And I think that's the are we pursuing during that? And I believe we're in a good position to do that. But until it actually happens, I think that's always the question mark that you have as a coach.
I me you didn't even see it last year, going 13-0 until the end. So you didn't see how they could respond.
And that one you could have a built-in reason for that one if you wanted to. But I think now, I think that to me is we're going to be in. You're not sneaking up on anybody, and you're getting, at least in the league, you're getting everybody's best, and that means we have to be at our best. We can't have some off days, and that is the challenge, and that's where from a leadership standpoint and everything, as coaches, we've got to keep, pushing that narrative and doing those things.
It's always interesting for me talking to coaches this time of year. Mm-hmm. For you, take me into your mindset a little bit. You've done this a while now. This time of year, has there ever been a time where you're like, I'm feeling really good about where we're at? Or every year are you kind of doing the same thing, which is like the worries outweigh everything else, and you kind of have that same level of anxiety or concern going into every season? What's it like for you?
I think there's always a little healthy mix. Like I'm confident and believing in where we're at in the team, but I think as a coach, you have to make sure you're being aware of the things that could hinder or roadblocks that could come. There has been a couple times where I've went in, I'll be honest, and I've felt like on cloud nine. Yeah. Hey, we're legit. Yeah. And there's other times I felt, God, we won't win a game, and we won some. It's more so I always make sure, hey, what are the things that can cause us from being our best. Like our whole focus is what's going to help us just be our best every Saturday. And I can live with, we got butts beat in the Fiesta Bowl. I was upset because we didn't play our best, right? And there's times when you don't play your best and you win, and I come out of it, I'm glad we won, but man, why did we not play better?
Yeah.
And I think that's what been mainly, from a coach standpoint, hey, what's going to help us be our best and what might prevent that? And those are the things that I really try to focus on from a head coach standpoint. When I call plays, it's a little different. You're worried about calling plays and all that stuff. Now that you don't, you got a lot of stuff to think about.
Right.
So that's the piece that I want to say I concern myself. I'm not anxious. I think when you're anxious, that means you don't feel like you're prepared. I think there's a nervousness about it. All right, if this happens, how do we respond?
Yeah.
What's my response need to be? And then how do I get the team to do that?
Great. No wonder I have such bad anxiety.
No,
I'm
that's
kidding.
That's a whole other thing. Yeah.
Coach, from within, like when you talk about here, talk about leadership, and from your standpoint, just from I think listen to different people from an executive standpoint, from a style standpoint, when you talk about the leadership and goal setting, are you a very specific goal setters within the individual, the groups, as a team, or you just take the aspect of, hey, listen, we're just trying to get better each and every week, and at the end of the season or whenever we play our best football? How specific do you get in goal setting as a team and individually?
I've not been a believer, and some people are. I've not been a believer in more specific as far as, hey, we're going to win this and we need to win this. Now we have checkpoints along the way, right?
Yeah.
Checkpoints. But I'm more of when I was a young coach and assistant coach, I was in charge of the goal boards. All right. And meaning, hey, we want to score this amount of points per game. We want to blah, blah, blah. And when you didn't get them, man, it felt like even if you maybe won, it felt like you didn't reach anything. And I never liked that because I felt our focus was more on that goal instead of pursuing what it takes to get that goal. Right. And so I'm a big take the outcome out of it and more of, hey, what does a champion do consistently every day? And we speak a lot on those. What do we need to do every single day for us to go just be our best when we kick it off? And then what happens from that, I believe if we are doing that, then we'll be where everybody wants to be anyway, because you should do well. And that's been I learned that the hard way, but I learned it, and that's really been. I don't talk a lot about winning a championship. Hardly talk about it. I talk about what we're capable of doing every day to help us pursue those things that are out there. And I think one that helps you, at least within your program, there's all these outside expectations within your program. What are our expectations? Our expectations aren't to go to the playoff. Our expectation is to play like a playoff team consistently.
Right. Very good.
One of the things you hear time and time again is how you can build a culture. We saw this summer. We haven't talked to you since the belly flop days. That was
that was a
you know
while.
that went viral. But what do you think the team's chemistry is, especially when you have a lot of depth on a team? Maybe guys aren't getting enough snaps. Do you feel like this team is gelled and connected, or is that another thing that you can't really tell until you start getting in those games?
I think we are connected. I think we spend a lot of time doing. You bond through shared experiences, hard things, through fire. We've done a lot of challenging things, whether that's through the summer. We've done some fun things as well. I do think there's a strong connection there. I do think it gets tested, though, when challenges happen, and so last year it got tested, early in fall camp, obviously, when we had that, and so it brought us together. We didn't have a loss to how we respond until obviously later in the year, and so I do think you always have to, once that adversity comes, how you respond to it. I think we'll see how strong that connection is, because it's easy to say you have it until something hard happens. But I do feel we spend a lot of time talking, doing, culture-based connecting things, and our team understands that. We do that leading up to every game, but specifically during fall camp, it's important. So I feel good about that.
You talked about the pursuing and trying to hammer that home with your team. Who are the guys actually in that locker room that you feel like are echoing that? Who are the guys that are taking on those leadership roles for you this year, hopefully sharing the same message that you're sharing?
Well, I mean, we elect a leadership. We call it a unity council. Obviously, our captains get elected. I think those are people that you hope are doing it. One of the things we share all the time is no matter if you're a captain or a unity council, you should be living that out. You should be living those values out. But I think your leadership, no matter if you have a captain or that, I think it always starts with your quarterback. because that's who everybody looks to, especially like on a game day, right? So I think that's got to be number one. He's the guy that they're going to turn to really when things get hard, right? To me, he's one that got to live those out consistently every single day. He's the guy they're going to turn to. Obviously, we got a captain. Our captains got voted, and so those guys as well. But you hope that Unity Council is voted by position. And so quarterbacks vote on somebody, the running backs vote on somebody by their position, and it represents them. So if those individuals are living it out by their position, you hope it trickles down where that position understands what those values are. And so, but everybody needs to be living them out.
How much harder is it in this day and age, in this portal age, to maintain culture? Because we talk to coaches all the time in preparation for games. Sometimes we have coaches that say, yeah, we don't really have leaders on the field. We can't find those because they're gone after a year. How much harder or different is it now building and maintaining culture when you can't necessarily just rely on, we're going to have this guy here for 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, I do think it is more challenging because you're turning over so many people, right? And so, we start over every spring and go back through the whole deal, and then you have to start it back over every summer because you're bringing new guys in there. So you're constantly starting over, and you're constantly re-implementing and always talking about the values there. I do think it's harder because the old days say, I got a guy 4 or 5 years, he starts here and then he builds, he earns it, and he loves it so much, man, he wants to be this or that. That's hard to do or find anymore because of that. But you really have to work hard on identifying guys. Leaders are, if a guy shows up on game day and plays well, no matter what typical position, people think, well, he's a leader because he's producing on the field. Then you've got guys that at practice that are always maybe bringing hype and always excited about practice. They're a type of leader, right? Then you got the guys that are the quiet leaders that you might not see, but they're in the locker room, doing these things. There's about 4 or 5 different types of leaders. And so our job, and I think it's harder, is who are those guys? The team might vote on guys, but it might not be them. I mean, because the team might see certain things. You hope they see all of it. They might see certain things. And so I think as a coach, we've talked a lot about this, the days of having a guy that just is so willing to stand up in front of a team and say something meaningful is hard to find anymore. Because of where we're at, and so, but you still got to make it work.
For you personally and your staff coming here last year and then now going into year 2, what has Liberty meant to you in the transition from Coastal to here, and how has that gone for you and your staff on a personal level and also on a professional level, what the university's been able to offer you guys?
I think personally, we're very thankful to be at Liberty. We've together, majority of us has started at a lower level and took some incremental steps to get here. And to be, as a coach, you want to honestly be valued and appreciated for what you do. And I'm not talking about money-wise or those things, just by the people and that they value what you bring. And our staff, more than any place we've ever been, we feel more valued here for the effort that we put in to help Liberty be the best it can be and what we can do at the university. So we're all thankful for what it is. It's the best job we've all ever had, bar none. And then secondly, our administration and through Ian, our athletic department, President Costin, football is important to them. Right. They want it to do well. They value it. And that means a lot to us too, knowing that, hey, we can go out and pursue the type of young men that we want to bring to our program, and you have the support of that. And so that's an awesome deal to wake up to. I've been at other places when, as a coach, you want your job when you're doing well, you want your job to hopefully get easier, not harder, right? Yeah. And sometimes it maybe at other places it gets harder by name it something. They want you to do well at your job, and they want you to have the necessary things that you need to do to make sure to do that. But they support you in so many other ways, and so we're very appreciative of that, and we realize that.
Love Coach's baby blue pullover. Did you have a say in making the baby blue unis?
I want our guys, I want our players to feel valued, appreciated, and sometimes you can do that through doing fun things. You can do that through, food to their stomach and different things, right?
That's the answer for me.
Yeah, that always speaks. But also, when I got here last year, we had not changed any of our uniforms in 6 years, which is unheard of in college football, truthfully. And so our red and our white, there was no more uniforms to get. Like, they were done making those. So there had to be a change. Yeah. And so we obviously do that. But then the players, all the time, anytime there's something more like this, they all talked about, hey, how cool it would have to something like that. So I'm just listening and observing. And I know there's a strong feeling out there whether we should have them or not. And
yes, we discussed that last week.
And so here's what I would say.
Depends if you're on Twitter or Facebook, really.
Whatever, yeah, exactly. But what we're hoping to accomplish, that one, hey, we're showing player, hey, we appreciate what you go through every day, what you have to do every day to go out and play every time we kick it off. And this is something that we could do that they would feel awesome about, that they've asked about in the almost 2 years I've been here. Just, hey, if that ever going to come, and it's something that was solely made for them to help them enjoy that. It's not something we're going to wear all the time, obviously.
When do we know the first game?
I don't know when it'll be. And again, it's not something, we're not trying to turn it into, hey, this is the color we're wearing all the time. But when I was in college, you never, and this was a little back, and we didn't have hardly anything, and you just won't be appreciated for what you go through. It's hard to be a football. It's hard. It's hard to do. We ask a lot of them. We take a lot of their time. And any way you can show some of that you appreciate that, I think, and it's something unique as well. And that was something why we did it. And they like it, and we'll use it. And obviously they use the new whites and the reds, and they look nice as well. Trying to be a little bit more simpler look, a little bit more simpler, so we can maybe wear some more things in different combinations. And so hopefully, I can tell you this, though, when we do wear them, if we don't win, you won't see them anyway.
That's
so
what
we're worried about it.
Yeah. You got any? I have a couple rapid fire.
All right, last thing for me, Coach. You finished up the year last year. What does your summer look like in terms of, like, do you go into a summer saying, okay, how can I improve? Like, how much, we talk about, scouting the opponents, looking at your roster. Are there things you go into a summer and say, okay, I want to work on this personally to improve myself, either as a coach or a person? Like, how do you approach that?
Yeah, I think, in the old days you did that tons. Obviously, in the summer now with June and all those, your recruiting is so much. And then, so it's a lot harder to do that. Typically, I really look at, after I get to, like, right there in May, all right, hey, what am I having trouble reaching X, Y, Z? To me, it's all about, can I reach and connect with the players? And from an X and O standpoint, I think you can always improve there in different drills and all that, but hey, you do what you do, right? Like, so I don't care if somebody invents or create a new, hey, I believe in what we do. But it's more, I need to stay up on how to connect and some of those. Now, I know nothing about music and different stuff, so I have to ask players, like, who is this? And so, but what's the way that I can connect and continue to keep our team as fresh and fun and motivated to go? So those are things I spend a lot of time on, whether that's a book, whether that's maybe talk to somebody else. Those are things that I really try to introspect on, and, like, hey, how are ways I can continue to get them to believe and buy in and be one? Like that, my job is to make us one. Yeah. And that's so hard when you're bringing, so many new guys in December, January, and then, I don't know, what do we bring in, 10, 12, 14, 15 in May, at the end of June? Yeah. So incorporating all that, it takes a while. And then you think, all right, this team knows me, but then you're like, no, they really don't, because there's so many new ones, right? And that's a lot of how I try to approach it. It used to be all right, what's better from this football play and this or that. Now it's more, no, I got to figure ways to connect with new guys and bring them together. And so it's more of books and videos of leadership and motivation and different stuff from there.
Yeah. Joe, what do you got?
One last thing, Coach. Take your coach's hat off and put your player's hat on right now. Would you consider the victory that you got over me in pool basketball last season one of your highlights of your playing career?
No, because I should win. What are you, 57?
Yeah, that's right. Hey, you're in the ballpark. Yeah.
And it's home court advantage. Yeah. You obviously tried to cheat.
Court advantage.
And I still tried to win.
Home pool advantage.
I would say.
Tell him how I tried to cheat.
I would say.
Tell him what I did to
He
try
tried to drown him.
He drowned.
Yeah, he tried to drown him.
I'm a new guy trying to figure it out. My family just moved 2 days ago, and he's like killing me. It was obviously a big win, and
it was a big win.
It's a big win just because you can't walk around like you're the cock of the walk in front of me because I took it out.
Yeah.
Not yet in pickleball. I've got to. I got to work it up.
Shoulder's not helping you.
Yeah, shoulder doesn't help me on those things. But it was a good time. It was good. It was like my first foray into all right. Let's see what we're about. And
You were 1-0 before you even played ball.
yeah, I mean, the season was a success.
Right.
You know, I mean, so I know anytime I'll walk over there, I own the place. You might as well put my name on his mortgage.
Since then, though, you guys have connected. I heard on the flamethrower, you guys want it to be a part of the recruiting process, and Brad Queen continues to shut it down. Like that thing is not coming on campus.
I do. I think I love his idea. I love what he's doing with his commercials and all those things. I think it's hey, we're the Flames.
It's dangerous.
But also, we don't want to burn anything down either. I understand.
It's a give and
We're
take.
going through licensing agreements. We're going to try to get this worked out. We can bring it on campus.
We are not.
Yeah.
MVP of camp on each side of the ball.
Who I think had a great camp offensively was Kylan Austin. I think he, he's somebody probably a lot of people aren't talking about, but every day he got better. He improved, made some nice plays, and so I think he'll carve out a role at some point where he'll do some things for us. I really was pleased with him, and from a defensive standpoint, there's a couple over there that.
You can give us a couple.
I'll say. Let me say that I'm very proud of Joe Carter. Went from a walk-on under us, obviously earned a scholarship, special teams role, played somewhere. He's really established as a really good linebacker, who's a leader over there, and I would say his consistency and his leadership really stuck out to me.
Nice.
Awesome. Last one. Best family moment this summer. I know you guys don't have a lot of time because you are recruiting so much, but what would you say was your favorite moment with your family this year or this summer?
Favorite moment. We were able to go to my kids and my wife love Disney World, and I love it too. And we were able to get away for maybe 4 days, and we had a good time there, riding rides. Now they don't like going with me because I'm one that. If it opens at 8, we're there at like 6:45 to get in. And so
Clark W.
Clark W. Griswold.
First one's here. First one's here, right?
That's right.
And so and I'm proud to say we've been in the first one in line twice for Toy Story, the Slinky Dog Dash. We've been the first one at the very front. And so we went, but they went at some other point without me. And they basically said it was way better to go without me because they slept in a little bit. And I was like, are you kidding me? So they, but that was fun. We had a good time. They enjoy it, and those trips are getting harder because my son's going into high school now, and my daughter's going to be in middle school. And so a lot of their sports, take a lot of that away. So that was sort of our last really one because of, summer workout, all that stuff. That hey, let's go try this. And we were able to do that for a few days. We had a really good time there. And but as I said, they really hurt my feelings when they said it was better without me. But
your son's over at LCA quarterback, right? They bring the offense over there.
I doubt they're bringing the offense over. I don't know if Coach Rocco. But Coach Rocco don't need any help from me. Trust me. He's doing all right. He's got more state championships. If we might need to be figuring out what he's doing.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you so much for coming on,
Appreciate it,
Coach. I know you're a busy
Great.
guy, so we appreciate your time. Excited to have you guys here on the mountain and ready for year 2.
Very excited.
All right. Flames.
Well, before he goes.
Whoa.
Wait. Okay, so Matt's already wheeling off.
Here we go.
This one right here, Coach. This one.
He wants you to look at that camera.
Flame Central Podcast powered by
Right
Alcova
there.
Mortgage here.
Red light right here, Coach. There you go.
Flame Central Podcast powered by Alcova Mortgage. Any needs you need.
Yeah.
Bam.
Go to Joe Yuck.
This is the
Flamethrower.
Flame Door. There's a long list of guests that need to get on the Flame Central podcast,
Sure.
so I'm sorry it took so long for us to have Coach Chadwell back, but
Timing
it was
was
so
perfect.
Right.
great talking
Right.
with him. What do you guys think going into this first game?
Well, I mean,
Cautiously anxious?
right,
What did he say?
right. And I think that's it. You'd be nervous a little bit if your head coach was like all bubbly and feeling great. Like that's not what you want. He is. I would say cautiously optimistic.
Oh, yes,
A
that
little on edge, but every coach is this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's probably as excited as we are just to get to a game week
Right.
and just to be here finally. I mean, you get to the end of camp and you're like, all right. Like you start not looking at the positives, you start looking at the negatives. And again, we say it every year, but when your guys are going Liberty versus Liberty, there's always a negative.
Yeah.
Your offense plays well, and a coach's natural reaction is, what's wrong with our defense? The defense dominates, and it's like, what's wrong with our offense? So it'll be good to see them play against somebody else, and I'm sure he'll be as glad as anybody about that.
I've never been around a head coach, right? And I happen to be the son of a head coach, right? And we would have some dinners where it got it's near the end of camp now because, hey, Sarah, what's wrong with the turkey dinner tonight, right? That's what it was like in the Yock house. Hey, where's my pie at now, right? It was like Ray Yock
on edge.
Ray Yock was on edge at the end of camp. I mean, I'm just saying, my dad would come home at the end of camp and he's not. Yeah, he's like, and then he'd be eating. It's like, my quarterback stinks, right? Like that kind of stuff.
That's a great
and then the guy would pass for 5,000 yards, right?
Yeah.
So yes, you're always going to get that end of camp thing. And then when you listen to, I listened to Jamey's interview from one of the press conferences, and he talked about there is that on edge bantering right now, right? And like how much of that do you let go compared to like you don't want to get it out of control, but at the same time, these guys have had enough of each other, right? And they're ready to play a football game. And so like how you balance that out is tough, and it's going to be great to be able to see them actually hit somebody else.
I think it was the linebacker Taylor Jackson who said this past week, he's like, I'm ready for us to be one Liberty.
Yeah.
Because I'm ready for us to all fight together instead of having to go against each other. I'm ready to root for Caden Salter instead of trying to stop him. Like, I'm ready to be on the same sideline.
Yeah.
I think that's the way everybody feels this time.
Going into this year, all the expectations, you like watch College Game Day this weekend, and it's like there are a lot, like nationally, people thinking Liberty is going to be that group of 5 teams. So it's going to be so interesting to see how this team continues to grow throughout the season, because obviously you don't want to be, like you said, have a coach going in so hyped up on his team. I think that they will have a lot to grow, especially with what this offense did last year. But I don't know. I'm ready. I think that Campbell. What can you tell me about Campbell?
All right, here's what I know about
It's going to be like
Campbell's.
a good getting your feet wet first game.
Coming from the CAA, they were 5-6 last year. They have a new head coach, Mike Minter, who was there 11 seasons, resigned after last year. He done a great job in recruiting, but really their defense was the big struggle this past year. They gave up over 33 points per game. They bring in the new head coach, Braxton Harris, who happens to be from the defensive side of the ball, so expect them to be a little bit better on that side. He was at Houston Christian last year, led them to their first winning season in program history, had been at Campbell previously, so he comes back. A lot of unknowns, though. Starting quarterback from a year ago, gone, so they have a quarterback battle. Brought in a lot of transfers, especially on the defensive side, so it's going to look a lot different. But at the end of the day, if you're Liberty and you're playing an FCS team, what'd you say, Joe? You saw the line on this game.
Yeah,
it was like
36,
30-something.
37.
So this is a game that if you're Liberty and you're that big dog now, this is where you knock the rust off, you get a good rhythm, you figure some things out, and you take care of business. It's tough for a Campbell team. New head coach, first game with them, tough environment. I'm sure they'll be a good program eventually, or even later this year when they start playing against other FCS programs potentially. But this is a game if you're Liberty, you take care of business. At the half, you shouldn't be like some of the games we saw on Saturday that were big spreads, but at half you're like, whoa boy, like how's SMU, like, I guess is Nevada going to knock them off? Like at the halftime, that should not be the case in this game. The Flames should take care of business.
Well, if there's any reflection from the block party to the crowd that's at Williams Stadium, this place is going to be rocking.
Block party I heard was rocking.
It was. Well, I wasn't
I would have
there.
liked to have gone. Yeah.
I would have loved to have gone.
Yeah.
I didn't know that that was all happening. Thanks for the invite, Liberty.
And looks for special invites. Yeah.
Hey, you're having a block party. Make sure you invite Emily.
Yeah.
Sorry, Emily.
I'm giving him a death stare. What can you tell me about Campbell?
Well,
Joe, since you've done all this research like me.
Joe's been a busy man.
Yeah, no, my interest really lies on what type of Liberty offense will we see this year. I think defensively you're going to see an improvement, and I don't think that Campbell, like if from looking from the outside right now, who knows? Like it's college football is so crazy, but will they get a huge test? Campbell's offense against Liberty's defense. No, I don't think that'll be a great indicator. Liberty's defense should do well, but I think offensively is where I'm much more interested to see what the style's going to be this year.
Yeah.
Because it is different pieces now, different O-line now. Cooley and Caden Salter obviously are the two, big pieces of that offense that they're going to rely heavily on. But yet at the same time, with Caden passing the ball so well last year, and that seems to me with CJ gone, CJ Daniels gone now, but you also have a multiple of different weapons potentially at the receiver position. And then you look at a Von Blue out of the backfield in the passing game. And so you start looking at like, okay, maybe this offense, led the nation in rushing last year. Maybe this offense might look a little different, knowing that Caden did a good job last year, not only of getting the ball to CJ, but multiple times going through his progressions. That was one of the things that I was pleasantly surprised with, especially early in the season, and I think you're going to see, I think Willie Korn, Jamie's going to look at that and go, you know what, we can put more on him from the passing standpoint. And I think you'll see him distribute the ball more throughout this season and find out, because what are you trying to find out with new guys? Who are the playmakers? Right? Who, when the lights come on, are actually the ones, is it Von Blue out of the backfield? Is it will Reese Smith get involved off a knee injury? Juju Gray, how much will he get used? So you start going down lists, like there's more unanswered questions within the passing game, but I still think they feel extremely confident in their passing game. It's just like, who's going to be the guy that really steps up?
And do you know why? Because they have Dr. Korn.
Yeah, Dr. Korn.
Dissecting these defenses.
He dissects.
All these weapons and, potential candidates that we can, choose to have on our Flames fantasy team means that it's a little difficult. You got to do a lot of research. We'll see how each of us did that research. Here is our 2024, the 5th annual Flames Fantasy Draft. The kid is back. It is the moment we and you have all been waiting for. Welcome, Joe Yock, to the show, Yock Talk, for our 5th annual Flames Fantasy Draft. In years past, we had nothing to play for other than bragging rights. But this year, we have a trophy. It will obviously stay with me as I look for a three-peat. If you are unaware of what the Flames Fantasy Draft is or what is even going on right now, we have Matt Warner here to give you the rules of play.
Rules are pretty simple. Each of us will draft 5 players, 3 offensive, 2 defensive, no quarterbacks. Standard fantasy football scoring applies. The weekly scores throughout the year add up, with the winner, who gets that trophy, being the one that has the most total points at the end of the season. And one last note, we can make roster changes throughout the year. If there's an injury or after weeks 4, 8, and 12, those are the waiver windows. The waiver windows when we can make roster changes.
We all know that Joe Yock needs those the most out of any of us.
Stop making fun of me.
He has come in last place every single, I think,
4 consecutive
seasons. So we feel bad for him. So we're giving him the first pick in this draft.
Listen. There's a trophy now. I mean business. Okay. This has now officially become a business trip for Yock Talk. And with the first draft in the Flames Fantasy Football 2024, Yock Talk selects running back Quentin Cooley, Liberty University.
There you go. No brainer.
No brainer. Quentin Cooley is unquestionably the #1 overall pick for this draft. Last year, 221 carries for over 1,400 yards and a TD-making machine for fantasy points with 16 touchdowns on the year. Quentin Cooley, no doubt, #1 overall pick.
All right, so that comes to me now with the second pick. I, too, am going with running back Von Blue with my selection.
That's
Remember,
my boy Blue.
He was the #1 pick in the draft last season, came out really fast as a true freshman. He had 50 yards on the ground on 4 carries, a reception for a touchdown in the opener against Bowling Green. Then he had the shoulder injury, missed 7 games, never quite got back on track. But he's going to be on the field a lot in that 2-back system with he and Quentin Cooley. And I think this is going to be his breakout year. Also, keep in mind, no Aaron Bedgood catching out of the backfield. You might see Von Blue take some of those receptions as well. So he's my pick, my boy Blue.
I am sticking with the color theme, but as a true champion, I'm going away from the running backs and going with Julian Juju Gray.
Juju.
Let's go. He's an NC State transfer, junior wide receiver, but he is going to have a big role in the return game. #3 in the ACC, #11 in the nation in kickoff return. Just a lot of yards and points getting. He's one of the fastest guys on the team. We're trying to look at who's going to be that receiver that takes those deep threat like CJ Daniels. That's going to be this guy, Gray. All right, Juju Gray. A little birdie told me that the Flames might be throwing the ball a little bit more this year. So I'm not going with the running backs. I'm going with the wide receiver. Stays with me for my next pick. I'm going on the other side of the ball, TJ Bush. He's a defensive end, had a great freshman campaign. And once he's been in this, Chad Scott strength and conditioning program, I think he's going to have a much better season than he did last year. He was part of the CUSA all-freshman team. 32 total tackles, 11 solo. He ranked third on the team in tackles for loss. So really excited. This season, he's going to have quarterbacks on the ground eating turf all around this country.
Yes, TJ Bush is bulked up like Emily during the holiday season. That's what he's done.
You can't say that.
All right. Emily took a guy I really like in Juju Gray. Going to be a really good receiver, but I'm going to take the best receiver. And the best receiver on this roster is Trayon Sibley. He led this team in receiving through the first 4 games last season. You might not remember that. Then got a little bit banged up. Wasn't quite the same in the second half of the year, but had over 450 yards receiving, 4 touchdowns. He has slimmed down heading into his senior campaign. And as a guy that's been in this offense and already produced, unlike really almost anyone else on this roster, they lost a lot in terms of the receivers. I think it's going to be a big year for Trayon Sibley. Joe?
Back to me. Listen. This
Joe hasn't
last
talked in a
pick
while.
of the second round.
This last pick of the second round. I'm going to go with, and folks, listen to me now. You remember at the end of the season, where did you hear it first? You heard it first at Yacht Talk, baby. And that is that CJ Bazzell is going to be the best player on this Flames defense, and he's going to put up the best stats for tackles for loss, and he's going to put the best number of sacks up for this defense. I'm taking CJ Bazzell. Last year, 49 tackles, 10.5 tackles for loss, three sacks on the season. This guy is a guy whose numbers are only going to increase. Best player on the defense by the end of the season.
All right, so we stay with you, Joe. First pick of the third round.
I mean, come on. I mean, he's powered by Alcova Mortgage along with Quentin Cooley.
That's a good pick.
He shoots a flamethrower.
He shoots
a flamethrower. Right. We're gonna go with the All-American safety, Brylan Green. Brylan Green with 6 interceptions on the season last year. This guy is a ball hawk already. We saw in the scrimmage on Saturday. Who does Brylan Green pick off? Oh, the All-American quarterback, Caden Salter, gets picked off in that scrimmage. So Brylan Green and Quentin Cooley, both of them powered by Alcova Mortgage.
I was about to say, 2 guys powered by Alcova Mortgage on Joe Yacht's team. This thing is so rigged.
As they refer to it, it is the biggest no-brainer in the history of the world.
Yeah, it's a business decision for Yacht. All right,
also,
my pick in the third round, I'm finally going to the defensive side. Linebacker Joe Carter, Mr. Consistency. One coach said he's like Chick-fil-A. He's always right. And that's what he is. He's always right place, right time. Last season, third on the team in tackles with 59. He got better and better as the season progressed. No Tyron Dupree this year, who led Liberty in tackles by a wide margin last year. I think Joe Carter's going to be one of the guys that helps fill that void.
All right, I'm going back to offense. Elijah Canyon, he is a 6'4" receiver from Hollywood, Florida. Lights, camera, action. This guy is going to be a tall target for Salter. Junior transfer from Purdue. We also played at Auburn. And when he was there, SEC honor roll. So this is a smart kid and a smart pick when Salter's spraying the field this season. Back to me, right?
Yeah, fourth round.
Let's go.
4th round. I'm going Mo Williams. Marion Williams. He's a junior corner from Cedar Hill, Texas. Been here at Liberty for, I believe, 3-4 seasons now. He finished last season with 37 tackles, started 11 contests. Big game in the Fiesta Bowl, 6 tackles and a season best 5 solo stops. He improved every season that he's been here, and he's going to have a bigger role this season. Mo tackles, mo picks, mo points.
That's pretty good. I honestly feel sorry for you guys as it comes to my next pick, because I don't know if you guys are going to have any tackles left with who I have Joe Carter, and I'm taking Taylor Jackson, the transfer linebacker from ECU. Those 2 guys together, that might be 1-2 on this team in tackles when it's all said and done. He started every game for ECU last year, had over 50 tackles on the season. Those 2 guys are the leaders at linebacker. They're going to be in on every play around the football, and I'm going to take Taylor Jackson with my pick in the 4th round.
That was a good pick.
Well, I always got to go back to guys who have really cool nicknames.
And
most importantly, nicknames that Yacht Talk gave them, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Billy Cool Hand Lucas. Billy Cool Hand Lucas was a little on and off last year, a little banged up throughout the year, but I'm telling you right now, guys, this guy's got more shift than the William Byron 24 NASCAR. Okay,
You better hope the Flames are going to run the ball this year, because
he's going to run the ball. You're going to be surprised at how many red zone touchdowns that he scores along with Quentin Cooley. Billy
Cool Hand Lucas, a great name.
Another nickname coming in the top of the
And
fifth
finally,
round.
why don't we
Fifth and final pick, Joe.
Why don't we just back it up with another great name?
Let's do it.
Huh? Let's go with Take a Ride in My Bentley Henshaw.
Yeah.
Once again, another red zone tight end, another red zone scoring machine. Had 6 touchdowns last year, and only expect more and more from Take a Ride in My Bentley Henshaw.
All right, with my final pick, it has to be an offensive player. Going to go with a little bit of a wild card here. I'm going to go with the wide receiver Reese Smith. Transferred from West Virginia before last year, hurt his knee, missed all of last season. Shifty little slot receiver. When he's right, he's like 7-Eleven. He's always open, and he's going to be open a lot for Caden Salter this year if he can stay healthy. That's my final pick. A little bit of a wild card, but I think he's going to be a good one.
We close out the 5th annual Flames Fantasy Draft with my final pick, Darius Copeland. This is a name that we've heard a lot during
Darling.
fall. What'd you
Camp
say?
Darling. That's what he's been. Yeah, he's a Camp Darling. That's a phrase.
This is my time
Go
to
ahead,
shine,
go ahead.
okay? I'm looking for the three-peat here. You can get your time whenever you actually win. Redshirted last year, but as a junior in high school, 1,100 receiving yards, 11 touchdowns. He's going to do the same for me this upcoming season. Plus, he's a multi-sport athlete in high school. Baseball, basketball. You know that if he's playing multiple sports, but then he went with football, he's got to be pretty good. He's going to be good for my team that rounds it out.
Yeah.
Hey,
Here's
just hand the trophy to Yacht Talk now.
No, this
Just
thing
do
is
it
staying
now.
with me all season long. Do we need to look at our
Take
final?
a look at the final rosters as we get set to head into the season. Should be a fun one. Follow along with us all throughout the year, and we'll see if Joe can finally win.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is what we
Trophy,
are all
baby.
playing for this year.
Yep.
I still have to find, I don't know if there's a gold Sharpie. I don't know if I do
we
a
need to find
plate.
a way to add in
but we need to add
previous
the
winners.
previous winners along
It
here.
starts now.
If you didn't listen last week, I custom made this trophy for myself.
Yeah, for herself.
I did the Red Flames. That was all on purpose.
Yeah.
I did, is that Yacht Talk, baby?
That's Yacht Talk, right?
Look at that.
Because he doesn't win them, so we just had to put him on the trophy.
Yeah, oh, wow.
And then there are 3 Eagles, 3 Sparkies that represent the 3 of us.
Yeah.
So this year we'll
The
be playing.
eternal flame.
I
in the middle.
And it's
will.
the eternal flame.
I will have this trophy in my office for the next year, and I am a little nervous about if I'm gonna, have this
keep it.
three-peat.
Yeah.
So
Can I run through the rosters real fast
Yep.
just for people that just want the overall? And so for those scoring at home, I know many of you score at home during the games, and you're like, oh, big one for Joe. I just want to run through this real fast, okay? So Joe Yack
That's
has
really funny.
Quentin Cooley,
Bam.
CJ Bazell,
Boom.
Brylan Green,
Pow.
powered by Alcova Mortgage.
Yeah.
Amarian Williams. No. I'm sorry. Billy Lucas.
you don't even know who's
Billy
on your
Lucas
team.
and Bentley Henshaw.
I'm a little nervous that your team is pretty stacked.
It is pretty good.
And this is why it's all gonna
Yeah.
go back to we should have never given him the first pick.
I know.
Kapow!
He guilted us in this. All right, I have Vaughn Blue, Treyon Sibley, Joe Carter, Taylor Jackson, Reese Smith, and then Emily has Juju Gray, TJ Bush, Elijah Canyon, who I'm excited to see play. That's a big receiver, big target. Amarian Williams,
You maybe
defensive
do better
back,
than you think.
and Darius Copeland, at receiver as well. So there you go. There's the 5 for each of us.
I just need Willie Corn. You gotta really, really just.
Emmy's
make your
like
play calling around
texting
my
during the
guy.
game. Hey, Copeland hasn't gotten a ball his way in a while. Willie's like, why does my watch keep going on? Emily, leave me alone.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh! Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
But I'm excited about this year's Flames Fantasy Draft or Flames Fantasy League. So you get after week 4. I don't know if we covered that.
Yeah,
in the
after
video.
week 4, 8, and 12, those are our
Switch off,
transfer windows or our waiver windows, or an injury too, which seems to happen every year.
Well, let's knock on wood with that.
We don't
So
need any of that.
that'll be exciting stuff. We are going to have the finale of the show, the bold predictions, the Snell scoring system.
Yes.
But during this release of this new hit, you can't talk, Joe. So can
won't.
someone please come and get his mic?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if
I will not
So-
talk.
Jeff Snell, huge fan. Snell scoring system,
from Idaho.
mathematic wizard that scores our bold predictions every week.
Would you consider him a wizard? Would you?
Yeah. Savant.
I would.
Savant is another
Savants.
way. Yeah, guru.
Yeah. I would.
He not only has he provided the trophy that you see in the back
Oh,
there
wait,
that
let me
I won
move
last
this
year.
one.
It's a second trophy. We love trophies around here. We love really just rewarding ourselves.
one.
That's what this is all about.
Yeah.
Patting
We
ourselves
might-
on the back.
Honestly, when you dig
Yeah,
through it all,
yeah,
that's what it comes
that's
down
really
to.
what it comes down
We
to.
need to work on ourselves
Yeah.
a little bit because that's getting.
But Jeff Snell has sent us what I think is going to be the song of the fall It's replaced the what was it?
Shabuzi.
It's the one shining moment of football.
What's the Big and
That's
Rich
good
song
point.
that used to be the game day song that they got rid of? This replaces that.
Yeah.
So I want to play for you now the Snell scoring system song. Have a listen.
Matt's got a fire in his eye, making predictions like a wild card. Liberty flames burning bright tonight, but Snell's system makes cheating hard. Joe's running hot, ain't slowing down. He's crunching numbers like a math whiz. Alcova Mortgage, keep him coming round, but predicting football is his only biz. Who's gonna call it right tonight with Flames football hitting new heights? Matt, Joe, and Emily are locked in a fight for the score predicting bragging rights. Emily's got a feeling she can't lose. She's down on the field hanging with the team, getting all kinds of insider news. The score prediction trophy's her only dream. The Flames scorch their foes on the field, but Snell doesn't ever seem to go to bed. So that Monday it can be revealed whose score predictions hit the nail on the head. Who's gonna call it right tonight with Flames football?
So there you go. Snell scoring system song.
My God.
It's the hit of the fall. Great job.
I mean, it is
Great job.
incredible.
Yeah, he did a great
really,
job on that.
This podcast.
He played
really is
every
amazing.
instrument. You might have heard a little sousaphone in the background there.
There's a
He did that
sousaphone.
as well.
Yeah.
Talented guy. Very talented guy.
I can't believe it. It's really.
It's next level
It is
stuff.
next level stuff. You don't get that on every
you don't get
podcast.
Wait, we got to give a quick shout out before we get to our bold predictions. Malik Willis had a great,
He did.
end of the game.
2 touchdown tosses.
2 touchdowns
We'll
yesterday
see what his
in the
fate
finale
is
against the Saints. But
as the final cuts come. Yeah.
I'm really hoping that, like, even if he does, get released from the Titans, that he'll get picked up by someone. Story Jackson was unfortunately released by the Falcons.
Yep.
And that's all I got for you in other news. All right, bold predictions.
Bold predictions. Joe, you ready? Score, and then the score is all Snell focuses on, and then we give one that's like always an outrageous bold prediction that really none of us ever hit.
My bold prediction is going to help your fantasy team. I'm just going to tell you that right now. But so you want to score first?
Score first.
All right, Joe goes first. Score is going to be Flames
Okay.
49, Camels 10,
Okay.
and the Flames cover the spread.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And do you want the?
Yeah. What's your bold prediction?
My bold prediction is that Juju Gray returns a kickoff for a touchdown.
Man, it's like you're in my mind.
I know.
There it is.
He
I
literally
just
almost
gave
had the
you
exact
fantasy
same
points.
score. So I don't know if I should
Gave
change
you
my
fantasy
score
points.
because
And what
he-
do you
Change
have?
your score. I mean,
No,
come on.
I was gonna do 42-10 Liberty.
You want 42-10?
I want 42-10 Liberty. I think the Flames, our defense is going to have 3 takeaways
Okay.
in game 1.
I mean, I just don't think that's very bold for a 36-point favorite.
Okay, and then TJ Bush is going to add 2 sacks.
Okay. Now we're adding
Now
more
we're
to
in
it.
business.
Okay.
Snell, mark
Come on,
it down.
everyone just put the
Mark it down, Snell.
This
put
is
the vibes out there for
this
my
is
Flames
our
fantasy
tradition
team.
though. Is whatever bold prediction Emily makes, Joe always goes, "Oh, that's not bold." And Emily's like,
Yeah.
"Okay.
I'll
What
show
about
you.
this?
Yeah.
What
I'll
about
show
this?"
you.
And then I
Yeah.
find in my back pocket,
Yeah.
TJ Bush gets
And then it gets
More
more
sacks.
outrageous,
Yes.
and she would have been probably pretty accurate with the first one, but now it makes
oh
it.
yeah, Cooley 400 yards. How about that?
Yeah. I'm gonna go.
Take that for bold.
I'm gonna go Liberty 52, Campbell 13.
Oh, jeez, all these scores.
And I'm gonna say this is a Von Blue, like just reminds everybody how good he is. I'm gonna say, is it bold enough to say a rushing and receiving TD?
No.
Let's go 3 total
That's-
TDs.
3. If you give me 3,
three
Wow.
total TDs.
if it's bold, it's
See,
got to be
Matt
3.
is just trying to put
Yeah.
it out there for his
Yeah.
fantasy
That's
team.
true.
But I like.
That's true.
Yeah.
So,
true.
so Von Blue with 3 TDs.
Yeah.
Wow.
3 total TDs.
These are pretty bold. All right, did you hear that, Dr. Korn? I
Yeah.
need you
Yeah.
to
It's
make
game
this
week.
all happen. It's game week, baby.
I do have one thing, not to end on a sad note, but I do want to mention real quick
Oh.
before you go. Paul Ritigliano passed away this past week. I know, Joe, you worked
Yeah.
with Paul a lot. I worked with him some on TV as well and did stuff on when we were Game On. We would do season previews with him. He was the radio color commentator as well. but just an awesome, awesome guy, and want to just obviously keep his family in our prayers and remember him because he impacted, like you talk about impact, like he was a behind-the-scenes guy in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You see all the comments online from people that he's impacted, whether they were players, whether they were staff members in that Liberty football program. Like, there's not many guys that had an impact like he did for such a long period of time inside Liberty football. Yeah.
So hopefully his family are reading some of those comments and seeing that impact. So
great guy.
Guys, game week. Oh, just a reminder, you can be a part of the show. flamecentral@liberty.edu if you want to
we gotta start getting some questions
send a
in.
note to Joe about
Yeah.
being more bold, with his predictions. Go ahead. Questions, comments, criticism.
Real quick, I'm glad you mentioned that. We have 2 quick mailbags.
Okay.
One from our guy, Reese Brand says,
Oh, I'm a big Reese.
Braybrand, he said, how do we get the Cooley chant going in the stadium this year?
Yeah.
I'll do my best when in the stands. Again, every Quentin Cooley run, Cooley. That's what we need to hear.
That you started.
We've
that,
got to
didn't
get
you?
it going. I don't want to take
He
credit.
goes over the broadcast. Cool.
Yeah, I don't know if
Why aren't we
I
in any
can't do that on the broadcast.
Because Matt's going cool
But
and not calling the game.
students need to get involved. And then one other one as well, which this came from a weird number, so I'm not even sure who actually sent this. So sorry to
You know what's a
whoever
good
sent this.
idea for that?
Go ahead.
Is somebody needs in the student section to have a big C and then a whole bunch of
Stretches
O's,
across the student section.
L, and then you hold it up whenever he has a big run, and then everybody starts going. Goo.
We need to get on the video.
You gotta have something.
Or like a video board.
Do I
You gotta
need to
have a
tell
big
the
sign.
students?
Yeah,
that?
Yeah, tell
them.
us
Go tell them.
Yeah,
do a big
I'll
Tell them.
Yeah. Actually, can you just make the boards and then I'll bring them?
Yeah, could you just make those, Joe?
You don't
I
have
could-
anything to do this
Okay,
week, right?
Yeah, I know.
The other one comes from, again, I'm not sure who sent this, but they asked if Emily three-peats, this person thinks Emily should get a one-time invitation to the JPL for a mixed doubles match. Emily and Matt, me coming out of retirement, and Joe and a lady of his choosing.
Yeah, okay. I'll take that.
I don't know if I am going to sign up for that. I've never seen Emily play.
I get to pick whoever I
Yeah,
want.
so I don't know how
What
I feel
me?
about that.
I don't want to get
Done.
hit in the
Yeah.
head with a flying
Yeah.
paddle because you have anger
Yeah.
management issues.
Yeah,
Like,
so
no.
I don't know.
Thank you.
Good in
That's a
theory,
fair point.
good in
That's a
theory,
very
but
fair
I don't
point.
know if we want
I'm out on that.
Yeah.
No, we can do that. I think that's doable.
If I three-peat?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
you three-peat.
Hey.
Invitation.
I'm going to really have to give some of my guys some NIL money.
Last thing, I think. Don't forget Flames Central game day. 5 o'clock this week, the pregame show. Emily's involved. Joe and I will be involved. You can find it on the Liberty Flames YouTube, Facebook, or X. It'll be streaming live there. Check it out. Really
An
good
hour
stuff.
before the game, 5 o'clock.
Hour before kickoff, and post-game show as well. So you're stuck in traffic on your way home. Maybe not if you're driving, but you're a passenger. Pull it up on the phone. Get the post-game.
Guess who I ran into
we
yesterday?
have player interviews, coach interviews,
The whole deal.
a
Great
lot of
analysis.
great analysis. So check it out.
Guess who I ran into
Who?
yesterday at the golf course?
Who?
Pat Kelly.
Pat Kelly.
Yeah.
He'll be on the show.
Yeah, Pat Kelly's gonna be on the show.
He'll be on the show. Yeah.
All right, guys, thanks so much for listening or watching.
Finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's always good
I
to see
thought it was
Pat.
gonna like.
Yeah,
add
I love
some-
Pat.
It's
like-
always great.
And then
It's like-
Pat hit a
Yeah,
hole
we
in
all love
one.
Pat.
Oh, that's great, Pat. How you
That was
doing?
it. I
Good
just
for
saw him on
Pat.
the golf
Patty's
course.
getting out a little bit.
Ah, how you doing, Pat?
You know how-
Joe, everything's going well.
Joe.
It's doing great. Hey, Pat, yeah, my shoulder's bothering me a little bit. You know, it's
All
like,
right, thanks so much for listening or watching the Flame Central podcast powered by.
Game day.
For Joe and Matt, I'm Emily. See ya.